In the garden, summer was a blessing. Bees buzzed as they worked, swallows darted across the azure sky catching midges, grasshoppers chirped in the grass. Doris and Walter sat at a wooden table on a bench, carelessly swinging their legs and stuffing their cheeks with pies. The pies were filled with cottage cheese and could be drizzled with honey, an incredible delight. The children even got smeared with honey around their mouths up to their cheeks and didn't notice it. Tamara poured them each a mug of fresh milk and, propping her cheek on her hand, listened with interest as Walter told a story about how he caught a bream, nodding along. "Yeah, really? You're such a champ, all by yourself? Oh, I thought he'd slip away completely. I thought I couldn't hold him. So slippery, shiny, silvery." Well, truth be told, Grandpa Peter helped a little. The boy had hopped on his favorite hobby horse. He could talk about fishing excitedly for hours and days until it was time to go to bed. Grandpa Peter helped? And what about Dad? Tamara clarified. Dad wasn't at the river. He promised, but as always, he didn't show up, Doris chimed in, chewing another pie. Tamara loved their little gatherings. If only they wouldn't leave her. Tamara sighed, and then an irritated shout from beyond the gate shattered their idyll. "You two stuck here again, you loafers? Is it smeared with honey here or what? You again, Tam? How many times do I have to ask? I'm out there alone in the garden, busting my guts, and they're here, munching pies. Don't you have enough food at home?" Slamming the gate loudly, a frowning and displeased Valerie entered the yard. The children guiltily slipped out from behind the table and hesitantly approached their mother, fearing another outburst of displeasure. "Mom, but a little. We'll go water the cucumbers right now." "March home and don't walk, run. Scat," Valerie commanded, and they scampered out onto the street like little mice. "And you, Tam, I'm warning you for the last time. If you keep luring my kids, it'll be bad for you, got it? I'll sick the local cop on you or even call the whole precinct from the district. They'll lock you up, clear?" The neighbor raged with threats and looked at Tamara. "You should have had your own kids instead of luring other people's. Then you wouldn't be cuckooing alone. Or can't you forget William? Well, he's mine, clear? Forget him once and for all, and his kids too." Tamara pursed her lips and her face flushed with spots. Such a sharp and toxic woman, this Valerie. In one word, she knows how to wound so that it doesn't heal for a long time. It's a moral bruise. Tamara loved these children, but not because they were Williams, but because they were lonely and unloved, clinging to her like frightened little birds. Protect us, warm us. With living parents, yet like orphans, like lost souls, they flocked to whoever would caress them. Valerie had pursued William very aggressively, never hiding that she gave birth to tie the man down. At first, he almost slipped away, but she caught him in time, arriving at his house uninvited and, as they say, put the yoke on him. There was no joy from their marriage, as it turned out. Not for Valerie, not for William, not for their children. Having let off steam, Valerie stormed off angrily, slamming the gate, and went to catch up with the children. Tamara, sighing, started clearing the dishes from the table, carrying the ladle of milk to the fridge. Then, at the end of the street, a rollicking song was heard. It was William heading home. He had a strong and beautiful voice, singing melodiously, but the trouble was, always drunken tunes. Tamara hurriedly went onto the veranda from the yard and watched from there through the lace curtain at her beloved man. Valerie had told the truth. She still couldn't forget him, even like this, eternally drunk and someone else's. The singer walked with an unsteady gait, swaying from side to side, noticing nothing around him. "Oh, you poor unfortunate, what are you doing to yourself? Why are you ruining yourself?" Tamara pitied him aloud, wiping away a tear. She was mourning not only his destructive passion that was killing him, but also her own bitter fate that had crumbled before her eyes. After all, once Tamara considered herself the happiest in the world. William had just returned from the army, and the lovers were preparing for the wedding. Tamara had faithfully waited for him from service, writing letters to her beloved almost every day. No one in the unit had such thick stacks of letters from a fiancé as William. She behaved like the most loyal bride. She didn't go to the club for dances, didn't even visit the cinema with girlfriends. She waited, and here was her reward. She had waited for her beloved. Tomorrow was their wedding. The groom's party was supposed to arrive in a whole wedding procession, all cars decorated with flowers and ribbons, and on the newlyweds' car, rings shining on top and a doll attached to the hood. It was time for the dressed-up bride to leave her parental home. The groom with his groomsmen was supposed to buy her and take her away under the crown. Tamara, dressed in a snow-white gown, waited with excitement, then with anxiety. Where were the groom's guests? The clock on the wall ticked away minutes after minutes, but the groom was nowhere. "What's this? He won't come? Oh, what a disaster! Changed his mind?" the neighbors whispered. "Stop it, you magpies. Maybe a tire went flat. They'll be here any minute." The anxious bride barely held back tears, but still believed that something had delayed the wedding cortege on the way. But then Nora, the village gossip everyone called the perestroika spotlight, burst into the house, out of breath, barely catching her breath. She announced, "He won't come. Don't wait, bride-to-be." To catch her breath, she greedily drank a mug of water. "For what on earth?" asked Tamara's mother. "You still ask? The groom changed his mind about marrying. His beloved bride is waiting, and she's been waiting for ages." Nora looked around at everyone and turned to Tamara's mother. "But I don't know if she's his or not." In short, a completely different bride arrived to him from the city where he served. By the way, the bride didn't come alone, but with a gift, with a belly. Tamara paled and looked like a bride from the other world, pale, not a drop of blood in her face. Her mother approached her fearfully, soothing her, stroking her shoulder. There, daughter, maybe it's some mistake. Nora, she just loves to chatter about anything." Nora immediately bristled. "Have you ever seen such a thing? I never lie. I always tell the pure truth, only the truth." "Oh, shut up, you chatterbox. Go where you were going. The devil brought you to our house." The mother waved her off in annoyance. The guests, murmuring in low voices, began to disperse. Tamara came too, looked at all those present with a dazed gaze, and ran out into the street. She even forgot she was in her wedding dress and veil. She dashed down the street like that. In front of William's house stood a gawking crowd, but they suddenly fell silent as if they'd taken water in their mouths and involuntarily made way for the girl to the house. Tamara slowly crossed the threshold of William's house and froze in the doorway. At the table sat the dressed-up groom in a white shirt, holding his head in his hands, rocking it. On the other side of the table were his tearful mother and sullen father. But the main character in this play was a pretty girl, noticeably pregnant. She was chattering something cheerfully, but fell silent upon seeing Tamara in her wedding dress and veil. "Oh, just what we needed, a bride to complete the set," the girl said and snorted. The girl was skinny, but only in appearance. Don't put your finger in her mouth, she'd bite off your whole hand. William jerked his head up and jumped up sharply, grabbing Tamara's hands. "Tam, I didn't know what to do, honestly." The girl burst into merry laughter. He knew, of course he knew what to do. After all, according to him, babies are brought by storks in a bundle or found in cabbage in the garden. And you, girl, don't doubt it, it's his child. He ran to me every leave during service. We spent time together, went to the movies, cafes. Then he left without even saying goodbye, like a stranger. So I'm not proud, I came myself. And here a feast is being prepared like I timed it for the holiday. Maybe you'll seat me at the wedding table so the treats don't go to waste? Why not me as a bride? Tamara looked at her bewilderedly and at William's guilty face. What could be said here? Everything was said, nothing to add. Then she ran out, tearing off the now unnecessary veil. Running home, she finally gave way to tears. "Why, Mom? What has he done to me? Why?" Tamara wailed, and her mother hugged her and wept bitterly herself. "Don't break your little heart, my dear. Calm down, my berry. All sorts happen in life. Even this. We'll get through somehow." Soon, Tamara realized she was pregnant too. She had wanted to observe all proprieties until the wedding, but William couldn't wait the day before, persuading her, "We're getting married tomorrow anyway, one day earlier or later. We love each other so much." And Tamara yielded. She gave all her love and herself, not even thinking anything bad could happen. No one thought so, and then look how it all turned out. Her mother panicked. "Holy God, what to do? You can't show yourself here with a belly. Every old hag will gossip. You'll be shamed to death." "In the district center, there's a doctor friend of mine. She'll take you to the office while the term is small, and they'll do everything quick and reliable. She's known me for ages and will take care of you." Tamara's eyes widened. "What are you saying, Mommy? He's not just William's, but my child too. My child, your grandchild." The mother slapped her lips. "What am I saying? Indeed, my grandchild. What a mess. Forgive me, daughter, old fool. The devil confused me, no doubt, to blurt such a thing." "Then we'll do it differently. You have an aunt in the neighboring region, Aunt Ruby, remember? So go there. We write to each other rarely, and we've hardly visited, but now it's time to see each other. You'll live there for now. In general, you'll live. She's family, even if we see each other rarely." And after much anxiety, "Lord, thy will. And then we'll decide what next. Not all at once, or my brains are boiling. I can't think 10 steps ahead. I'm not that Kasparov." Soon Tamara packed her things and left for the station, heading to her aunt. Her mother told the overly curious neighbors that her daughter had gone off to work to calm her heart from the wounds. Why should she look at her traitor fiancé or his cunning homewrecker? She's just hanging on him shamelessly. Well, what shame? He's her husband, she's his wife. And how they treated yours? But God is their judge, what can you say? And she sighed, the woman, to close the topic. The relatives welcomed Tamara warmly. Work was quickly found for her as a seller in a houseware store, not to sit on family necks. Tamara wrote letters to her mother often, telling how she'd settled, how she was doing, asking about her mother's health, hoping in the reply letter from her mother she'd get news about William, what and how he was. But her mother never mentioned him once. Tamara carried the pregnancy to term, and the relatives took her to the maternity hospital to give birth. But the birth was difficult. She suffered for 3 days until a doctor from the regional clinic arrived. He immediately started yelling at everyone. "Have you all gone mad? Waiting 3 days for what? The second coming? The waters broke yesterday, immediately to the table, and for such work you should be fired, kicked out of the hospital with a broom. What if complications?" Tamara was operated on. The baby showed no signs of life, heartbeat not detected. He was urgently transferred to intensive care. Specialists took over, and they had to deal closely with Tamara too. She had massive bleeding that wouldn't stop, only worsening. After all measures and drug therapy, the doctor ordered, "Prepare the operating room again. Call the anesthesiologist. We'll operate a second time, find where the vessel burst." For the second hour he struggled, trying to find where exactly it was bleeding and how to fix it, but everything only got worse. When the situation became life-threatening, the doctor was forced to make a difficult decision. "No way out. As sorry as I am, if we don't do this operation, we won't save her," the doctor told the assistant. And at that moment, when the doctors stopped resuscitation efforts on the mother in another department, the doctors pronounced the baby's death. And the question, when Tamara came out of anesthesia, she hoarsely addressed the nurse. "Where's my child? Can you bring my child?" The nurse wanted to say by habit, "Mommy," as to all, but barely held back, said simply, "Don't worry, you're still weak. You'll recover. The doctor will come and explain everything in detail." Tamara immediately started crying and trying to get up from the bed. "I feel something's wrong with him. He's bad. Where can I see my child? Show me where to go." No, don't get up. You can't. You're bedridden." The patient was too active, and to prevent her from harming herself, they injected her with a strong sedative. So the medics had to keep her on medications for 3 days. Then the gynecologist from the district center came again to examine Tamara, and willy-nilly it was time to tell her that her child hadn't survived. In the second sorrowful news, they had to perform an operation as a result of which she would never have children again. He said something else about how she could adopt a child, could be happy in marriage, but the poor thing didn't even listen to him. This had to be endured. But how, when half your soul or more would never return? When the half-alive Tamara was discharged from the hospital after 10 days, she gathered to go home. There was no reason to stay with relatives anymore. And soul wounds aren't treated in hospitals. Doctors don't have injections or pills to restore the soul to wholeness. At home, as they say, even the walls help. Tamara shuddered and snapped out of her heavy memories. It was already getting dark outside, and it had turned cool. Shivering, she wrapped herself tighter in her shawl and slowly went into the house. The memories wouldn't let go, crowding in a swarm. Thoughts flooded in. How much pain had fallen on her lot? One misfortune, then two, then others joined in, not delaying, in a whole chain. Tamara already knew that William had twins, a boy and a girl. Later, she learned they were named Doris and Walter. Then her mother took to her bed, unable to bear all the hardships that had befallen her. She was ill, suffered a stroke. Tamara gave her massages and injections, learned to do them herself, and tried to get her moving somehow. Nothing helped. After 5 long years of illness, her mother quietly passed away in her sleep. Having buried her mother, Tamara completely withdrew into herself. What did she have left in life to cling to? Emptiness all around. She often saw William's twins, but from afar. But one evening, she heard some noise in the garden. It was already getting dark. She went out onto the porch, throwing a shawl over her robe, and saw a boy sitting at the very top of the apple tree, throwing the largest apples down to his sister. The girl stealthily gathered them into a bundle from some rag. "Who's mischief-making in my garden?" Tamara asked quietly, so as not to scare the little thieves too much by surprise. The boy fell from the tree and wailed loudly. Tamara got scared, thinking he'd hurt himself badly. Running up to the boy, she started feeling him, checking if anything was damaged. "Where does it hurt? Arm? Leg? Where, little one? Tell me." But it turned out the "Ugh, Mom's gonna give it to me now," he wailed again. Tamara calmed him. "Is that a problem? Sit at the table, eat some pies, freshly baked. Here's some milk for you, and I'll work some magic on your pants. Nothing will show, they'll be like new." And while the children eagerly devoured pies with cabbage and potatoes, she quickly mended the pants, and indeed sewed them so nothing was visible. On parting, she shoved a bag of apples and fresh pies at them. The cheerful Maskells ran home, happy to have met such a kind Aunt Tam. But in the morning, a scandal erupted. "Take your handouts back, we don't need them," Valerie shouted, hurling the bag at her. Pies and apples scattered along the path in front of the house in all directions. "Val, why so? I just treated the kids. What's wrong with that?" Tamara tried to object. "You're trying to get to my William through the kids, decided to show everyone how good and kind you are." "Ah, you snake," the woman hissed. "Nothing will come of it. I won't give up mine. Don't even open your mouth." Tamara just shook her head. She had no words. But then the children still ran to Tamara, found a path, and started frequenting her house secretly, stealthily from their strict mother. And Tamara didn't have the heart to chase them away, though Valerie had forbidden their meetings. From the children's stories, Tam knew their mother often punished them. Their father paid no attention to them at all, and at Aunt Tamara's they liked it so much. Quiet, calm, no one yells or scolds, it smells delicious, and Aunt Tamara is so affectionate, like a real mom. Once, Doris, hugging her, whispered in her ear, "Auntie, can we live with you always?" Tears pricked her eyes from tenderness. "My little swallow, I love you both very much too." She hugged the girl and she nestled to her like a bird under a wing. Tamara, as gently as she could, tried to explain that it's better for them with their parents. Parents are supposed to care for children, children are supposed to obey parents. And then William froze to death in a field beyond the village in February. Why he even went there remained a mystery. Since he married, he'd wandered like a lost soul until he found such a terrible end to his life path, having suffered plenty before. Valerie tried several more times to arrange her personal life, but all awry. One she'd take, then another, so to speak, as husbands, but the men she got were all no good. Not to fix things around the house, but only to sit at the table, necessarily with a bottle. It didn't work out for her with new marriages in general. And then the twins started sleeping over at Aunt Tam's more and more often, and if such things were happening in their house, own home, who would want to stay there? But Aunt Tamara was glad to welcome the dear children to her home, always trying to treat them to something tasty, mend their clothes, and then even started sewing or buying new clothes for the children so they wouldn't go around neglected like orphans. Valerie at first still came to yell, threatening to smash her windows, pull out her hair, but over time she scandalized less and less, and then stopped altogether. After all, Tamara was essentially freeing her hands to meet men without interference. Especially since Val finally found an interesting suitor, seeming like a suitable master for her house. He fixed a lot in the house, replaced cracked casings, the sagging front door, and other household things.
Valerie even stopped drinking, to which her previous suitors had accustomed her. She started looking groomed, freshened up, even began to smile. So the twins spent all summer, then all childhood, and then adolescence in Tamara's house. From her house, they left to enroll when they finished school. They didn't want to part and go to different cities, so they went together to one university. Valerie seemed to have forgotten her children, didn't write or call. Tamara didn't dare interfere in their relationships and decisions or question them about their mother, especially since their mother, with her new husband, had left their village altogether. And as Nora, the famous gossip, that same one everyone called the perestroika spotlight, bragged, "Look at Val rolling like cheese and butter with her new hubby. They moved to the city. Lucky some people, and here we're stuck forever in this hole." Not forever, Tamara shrugged. Each person can choose their own fate. Oh, and you chose yours, did you? Nora's tongue itched to question Tamara in detail, but Tamara stayed silent like a partisan that bit her tongue. It only outed, "And I'm not complaining about my fate. I live as I live and I don't discuss others." Folding her shopping bag, she left the store with her back straight. Decades passed. "Mom Tamara, where are you? We've arrived. Meet your guests," cheerful voices shouted loudly from the gate. A gray-haired elderly woman with surprisingly straight posture came out onto the porch, throwing on a shawl, and joyfully gasped, "My dears have arrived, my beloved, my precious ones," and she spread her arms awaiting embraces. And toward her hurried the grown-up beloved children, Doris and Walter, not by blood, but by heart, leading their own kids by the hands. After all, there are no strangers' children. There are unloved ones who need warmth and love.